My name is Prabjot Singh. Today we are going to continue with the session of Bulldoze Weekly Current Affairs. So in this session of Weekly Current Affairs, we are going to cover up some of the very important events that had happened in that particular week. Right? So we are going to cover up the part of the April week. So in this particular week, there are 6 to 7 news that we are going to cover up fully first. And second, please go through. So in this particular session, before starting this particular session, I would like you to please subscribe this channel, click the bell icon, so whenever we upload any video, you get the notification about that. So as this week, these are the further topics that we are going to discuss today. The first one is China Solomon Islands Security Agreement. Then is Chief of Army, Indian Army. The new Chief of Army has been appointed by the government for the Indian Army. Then is Vagshir. Vagshir is a new submarine. It's a new submarine of Indian Navy. So we are going to study about this and the static part of this current affair as well. The next one is Udan. Udan is again the new, it's a flagship government scheme of Narendra Modi government. So we are going to cover about what is the news about this scheme and why the scheme is important. Next one is Black Sea. Moskva sinking. Moskva is one of the largest ship of the Russian Navy. We are going to study about that also. Drishya, again a new portal. And Shahbaz Sharif. Recently, we all know that political crisis that was going on in Pakistan for a couple of months. So finally, Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan has to resign from the post of Prime Minister, and the new Prime Minister is appointed, that is a Shahbaz Sharif. You must have heard about Nawaz Sharif. He is a brother of Nawaz Sharif. He is the ex-Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. He is a brother of, that is Shahbaz Sharif. So before starting this, we are going to first news, that is China Solomon Islands Security Agreement. So first of all, where Solomon Islands is located? Solomon Island is located, you'll see, in Pacific Ocean, right? It's called as an Oceania countries. You must have seen the northeastern part of Australia. This is Australia here, right? This is Australia here. So the northeastern part of Australia and eastern part of the New Zealand. So eastern part of the New Zealand and northeastern part of the Australia, there are a small group of islands which is called as Solomon Islands. Now China recently signed a pact with the Solomon Islands. Certainly, why the reason behind it? Because China is saying that Australia is signing a pact with India, with Japan, with America, and the Quad is forming. So in a certain way, China is also doing something. So what China is doing, China is signing a pact with Solomon Islands. Solomon Islands is located where? It's just above the Australia. So ultimately, it is a message to Australia that if you will sign a pact with our neighbors, then we are going to do the same for you. This is a tit for tat diplomacy, we can say that. So China said it has signed a security pact with the Solomon Islands, a first of its kind arrangement that could pave the way for further Chinese security deals overseas. Ultimately, it is nothing but just a message to Australia and New Zealand that if you will do it further, then we will make another security agreements to your neighboring countries. Ultimately, it will lead to Chinese military presence in that particular area, right? When there is a security agreement between any particular countries, then obviously there will be an influence of that signed countries in each other's territory, you can say that, in that particular area. So ultimately it will affect the Australians, because Chinese will be at their doorsteps. In future, if there is a problem, then China may use the Solomon Islands as their base, and Chinese will be at the doorsteps of Australians. So this is the strategic and military importance of Solomon Island for the China. Next is, so Solomon Island is a sovereign country consisting of 6 major islands and over 900 small islands in Oceania, to the east part of Papua New Guinea and northwest of Vanuatu. So its capital is Honiara, is located on the largest island, Guadalcanal. So this is the largest island. So this is about the brief history or brief geography of the Solomon Islands. Next one is Chief of Indian Army. The chief of the new Chief of Indian Army will be General Manoj Pandey, right? General Manoj Pandey will be the next Indian Chief of Army. The present is General Manoj Mukund Narvane. So he will going to replace General Manoj Mukund Narvane. The next chief will be General Manoj Pandey. Now what's surprising for this Chief of Army, because he is the first engineer to be Chief of Army, right? First engineer says he was in the engineers regiment. He is not, because ultimately if you see majority of Indian Army officers who became the general, they all belong to the infantry, right? The combat infantry. So he is the first Chief of Army who is going to be the Chief of Army from any engineer regiment or any engineer battalion. So he is basically from the engineering battalion. So he will be the next Chief of Army. So basically, who is the first Chief of Army? The first Chief of Army when India got independence. When India got independence after 1947, who was the Chief of Army? He was General Lockhart. But who was the first Indian? Who was the first Indian? The first Indian was General K.M. Cariappa, one of the brilliant mind in the South Asia at that time, General K.M. Cariappa. So next is, so he's the 29th Army Chief, right? So he's the 29th Army Chief, will be the first officer from the Corps of Engineers, as I already told you, to become the Chief of Army, succeeding the General Manoj Mukund Narvane, who is scheduled to complete his 28-month tenure on 30th of April. So it is just a matter of 7 to 8 days more. Then General Manoj Pandey will be the engineer, will be the Indian Army officer, Chief of Indian Army. Next is the Vagshir. Vagshir is INS Vagshir is a new Scorpion class submarine. Scorpion class. The Scorpion class is basically an attack submarine, a diesel powered attack submarine. Now what's the importance of this Scorpion class submarine is, the Scorpion class submarine is a joint basically the technology is of it's a French technology. So it is basically with the collaboration of the Indian industry and the French. So we took this technology from France for this attack submarine, and we are building up this submarine on this particular technology, because submarine technology is one of the, you can say that very sophisticated technologies and all. So the name of this project is basically Project 75. Project 75 is nothing just like this. It is a you can say that it is an industrial or a project name of the Scorpion class submarine. Scorpion class submarine. So recently Indian Navy has put forward the requirement of 6 Scorpion class submarine. So Vagshir is one of them. So now the 4 Scorpion class submarine has recently been commissioned into the Indian Navy, which is called as INS Kalwadi, INS Khanderi, INS Karanj, INS Vela, and have been already commissioned, while the 5th submarine INS Vagir is still undergoing sea trials. So basically it's a proposal of 6 submarines till now. This was about the INS Vagshir. Next is Udan. Udan is a very important flagship scheme of this Narendra Modi government. The purpose of this Udan scheme is basically nothing but just a connectivity. The basic purpose is a connectivity, air connectivity, basically from tier 2, 3 and even the 4 cities. Tier 2, 3 and even the 4 cities. When there is an airport connectivity, obviously if you want to invest into India by foreigners, if you want that foreigners should invest into India, one thing that they need is connectivity. Connectivity is one of them. Other things, law and order, everything. Sorry for that. So connectivity is the thing that everyone wants, when anyone wants to invest into the India. So this is basically a regional connectivity scheme उड़े देश का आम नागरिक. So basically the Prime Minister wants that airfare should be at a very minimum cost. I won't say that it should be at a very minimum cost, but airfare should be very reasonable cost, so that an middle class person could also be traveled through air and all. So it was selected by Prime Minister's Award for Excellence in Public Administration 2020 under the category of Innovation General Central. So it comes under Ministry of Civil and Aviation, and who is the Minister of Civil and Aviation? It is Jyotiraditya Scindia. So basically the purpose of this scheme is the regional connectivity. So the ministry said the Udan scheme emphasis on good governance, qualitative achievements and last mile connectivity rather than only on achievement of quantitative targets. So Udan scheme has immensely benefited several sectors pan-India, including hilly states, northeastern region and islands, right? Next is Black Sea. So Black Sea is a very much important region. One of the main reasons behind the Russian-Ukrainian conflict is the Black Sea also. The Black Sea is very much important for Russians because Black Sea provides you the trade route to the Asia and the European region for the Russians. This Black Sea, this Sea of Azov and Black Sea is connected by the strait. It is called as Strait of Kerch. In the same way, this Black Sea and Sea of Marmara is separated by, this is called as Strait of Bosporus. Very important. And this Sea of Marmara and Aegean Sea, it is connected by this strait. So it is what? A narrow channel of water body that connects to bigger water bodies. This is connected by Strait of Dardanelles. It is connected by Strait of Dardanelles. So that's why Russian annexed, this is Crimea. So that's why Russian annexed Crimea, because they will, if the Crimea is under the control of the Russians, then ultimately the Black Sea will be under control of the whole Russians and all. So recently the sinking of the warship Moskova, a 600 feet and 500 ton, 12,500 ton flagship of the Russian Black Sea fleet, whether due to Ukrainian missile strike or as Russian claim of fire on board. Ukrainian says we fired a missile on the ship, but Russians say it was a blast on board, so which leads to serious setback for the Russians, because it was one of the very important sea for the Russian fleet in the Black Sea. So what is the next? Drishya. The Drishya is a training institute for drone pilots, will be set up in Haryana to support capacity development, because the next thing that the world would go on is the drone. Even in the military, even in the, you can say that this transport, this airliners, everything, and so that's a drone is very much important. Even in the agriculture also, even in the mapping, the drone can play a very important role. So the chief minister of Haryana, that is Manohar Lal Khattar, was informed that Haryana is the first state to create a separate corporation to hasten unmanned alien vehicle driven governance application. So this name of the application is called as Drishan. Next is Shahbaz Sharif. So Shahbaz Sharif is the next Prime Minister of Pakistan, and it's very surprising and very comedy thing for all of you that since the Pakistan got independence in 1947 till today, there is no Prime Minister in Pakistan which has completed his term. No Prime Minister in Pakistan. All Prime Minister gone before 5 years. So the next is obviously Shahbaz Sharif. Mian Muhammad Shahbaz Sharif, born in 1951, is a Pakistani political serving as the 23rd and the current Prime Minister of Pakistan. Because 22nd was whom? Imran Khan. He belonged to PTI, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. It's the name of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. So he was forced to resign because all opposition got joined up, and because of no confidence motion, he can't able to control the corruption, he can't able to control the military, he can't able to control the geopolitics. Ultimately, he was forced to back out, and he resigned from his post. Now the post has been acquired by the Shahbaz Sharif. He is the younger brother of Mian Nawaz Sharif. Nawaz Sharif belongs to Pakistan Noon League. It is called as Pakistan Muslim League, PML, Pakistan Muslim League. N is Noon. Pakistan Muslim League Noon is the current president of Pakistan Muslim League Noon. So previously he has served as the chief minister of Punjab 3 times. So Pakistani Punjab, one of the largest density, the population lives there, and 3 times in his political career, making him longest serving chief minister of Punjab. Now he becomes the prime minister. We all know Nawaz Sharif cannot be the prime minister because he is not in the country, but now उसका भाई बन गया prime minister, वो definitely अब आएगा. So this was about the Shahbaz Sharif. So this was today's PPT. This was today's weekly current affairs. I hope that you learned something. If you learned something, please like this video, click the bell icon, so whenever we upload any video you get the notification about that. Till then, we'll meet same time, same place tomorrow, in the next week, where we cover up the next session of the current affairs. Till then, I'm signing off now. Thank you.